Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're going to talk about travel cases for your cigars. But first, let's do a long-awaited giveaway for the last cigar video I did a few months ago. All right, so this is just for, oh no, it's not going to focus. I purposely made it so it's not focusing. So the winner is Darren L. Allen, and it is a familiar name. I was kind of worried because that video had a lot of views, and that could be someone that's not here anymore. It was for some cigars, so I'll get those out for you. Congratulations. All right, so this video I've been trying to do for a little while now. A company sent me a travel case, months ago, and I wanted to make sure that I used it a bunch of times before I even talked about it, comparing it to other travel cases. So we're gonna get into that, and that's kind of like the premise of this whole video, but there's a few different examples and stuff I wanna talk about. But my friends over at WP Cigars, Will and Rob, just dropped a video similar to this. They go into a little more detail and they talk about a couple of different types of travel humidors this past Wednesday. So if you wanna see a different video with basically the same topic from some people in the actual cigar business, I'll put a link to their video in the description. So I know them when I went out to Indiana in December, help out SLB with their cigar line. They're the ones rolling the cigars for the SLB cigar line. So that's crazy. They just started a YouTube channel. It's like their third video, and of course it's the same video I'm basically putting out the same week. Definitely go check them out, give them a sub. They're great guys. So let's get into what I used to carry all the time as my travel cases, and there's certain different ones for different things. The ones I would use all the time are these like little Tupperware ones. So there's different sizes, as you can see. You can put different amount of cigars in them, but basically all do the same thing. They're all hard shell. They all have very good seals. They don't control temperature. None of the things we're talking about today control temperature. If you have a travel humidor that controls temperature, definitely comment about that, because that would be pretty impressive. Maybe like a battery operated one, maybe, I don't know. These are the type of travel humidors I was using for years and years and years. So let's open these up. As you can see, I have a couple Boveda packs in here, because when I'm not using Boveda packs, which is I only basically use them for the travel humidors, they can stay in here and they won't go really bad for a while, because it has a good seal. That's where I kind of keep them. But these are both 65s, and you can see this, the smaller one can hold 5. If you put 5 cigars in here, it'd be tight, and then you couldn't put like cutters and lighters. So obviously I would use a smaller one. I would put maybe like 3 in here, and then these types of, this one specifically, I would use a lighter like this where it's rounded. It's like the shape of a cigar, and it'll fit a little bit better, and it also has a cutter built in. Or depending on the size of the cigars, I could still put a couple cigars in here, put that in here. So I'd put a couple cigars in here, and like a lighter and cutter along the side of it, depending the size of the cigars and stuff. If I was gonna bring 5 cigars, I'd just bring a bigger one. But I'd use this for like 2 to 3 cigars. If I'm going to a friend's house and they already have cigars and I'm just bringing a couple for myself, I'd bring a smaller one. I used to use this bigger one right here. I would put like 8 in here, and they have these little, like all of these, well, this one doesn't, but they have these kind of like foam inserts that kind of keep the cigars a little more protected. This one doesn't have the other inserts because they're over there somewhere, but you could put a couple rows of cigars here. You could put your lighters and cutters. It would kind of keep it a little bit protected. If I was putting them in travel cases, I wouldn't really put cigars in here that aren't in cellophane, just to give an extra added protection, because they kind of roll around a little bit. And if you're putting your lighters and cutters in here as well, you can damage your cigar. So I'd be careful with that, but protect your cigars. And then this is the one I've been using for a while now, and you could put a good amount of cigars in here, still keep them protected, keep them separated so they're not all on top of each other. You could fit 10 in here very comfortably with a lighter and cutter and be okay with it. These you can find on Amazon, relatively cheap. They work well, and for a travel humidor type situation, they work awesome. This is what I've been using for years and years, and I really have, the only negative is that it doesn't control temperature, but I don't have any type of travel thing that controls temperature. So this is what I like to use. All right, now we get into something a little bit different. So this is the thing that the company reached out to me and said, hey, would you, I don't know if they asked me to review this. I'm sure they did though. But they asked me to check out this product right here, right? And I was like, sure, you want to send me a travel humidor, I'm not gonna say no. It has a zipper, and basically inside of this, crocodile style outer part, it's basically one of those pelican case type things. It's like the outside of the actual thing inside the outer shell is a hard plastic, and inside is like the cedar lined wood part, you know what I mean? And you know, it looks pretty. It's a lot prettier than the Pelican cases, so there's that. It also keeps the cigars from hitting each other a lot better. You know, straps in. This one specifically holds 8. It has a little hygrometer in it. Do I trust that? No. Would I use this for humidity control? No. But it does come with that. It does come with, you know, the little squeezy thing to put distilled water, and it comes with instructions. I actually did all this. I know you guys can see that because it's not zoomed in, but I wiped this whole thing down with distilled water to get it seasoned. The one thing I really like about this is that it has a little pouch for your lighter and cutter. Now, it comes with one of these little magnet things that you can go, like for golfing. I have something similar to this. You can put this like on any metal, like as a magnet, and it'll hold your cigar for you. It's good for golfing. You can put it on the golf cart. It came with a cutter, which you could put in there. What I've been using instead is a lighter cutter combination that kind of fits in there perfectly, and this just happens to be one from Penelope for you drinkers out there. So, you know, a jet lighter, it fits perfectly in this little pouch. So obviously I put that in there myself, but for me to actually use it in real life, I wanted to use how I would use it. And I have been putting Boveda packs in there, and I just put it right in here. So I put the 8 cigars and I put a Boveda pack on top of the cigars. Again, if you're unaware about the Boveda packs, you can put it right on top of your cigars even without a cellophane on it, and it doesn't do anything bad to your cigars. The technology behind Boveda is just amazing. There's this, which is a lot nicer. And so I don't tend to bring my own cigars ever to the cigar lounge, but I wanted to do B-roll, which by this point you've probably seen already. But I brought this with cigars with me to the cigar lounge, kind of just to record a little B-roll for you guys. And the owner of the cigar lounge came up to me and was actually impressed by this. And I was like, don't worry, I'm not smoking these cigars. And, you know, by that point, I already bought all the cigars anyways. But he actually liked the style. Now, if you don't like the style, there's a couple other styles. And if you're interested in this, there is a link in the description to go to Amazon, and I have a code to get 15% off. It's Carlos G15. I think it has to be all capital letters. If you go to order this, you put in your cart, and there's like a little button that says like add promotions, codes, and stuff like that. That you click on that, and then you put in the code. I looked it to make sure it worked the other day, and it's not as easy as just like it just pops up. You kind of gotta look for it. But what I will say is I do recommend this. This has worked out really well for me, and now this has replaced my Tupperware things. And it smells good, and it's much prettier. It's definitely a step up from the Pelican case styles that I've been using for years. Granted, it was sent to me for free, but if it was a hunk of junk, I would not be recommending it. I'll say that, okay? But I do recommend this. It is working perfectly fine. I like it. I would say the one thing, and the Pelican cases also would have the same problem. It can't fit the really long cigars, but it can fit up to like most Churchills. There's some Churchills that would fit in here, and then some a little bit bigger ones that wouldn't fit in here, but the Pelican cases also wouldn't fit those cigars. But I did notice that when I was trying to test different cigars to fit in here. And again, I wouldn't necessarily use the humidifier that comes in here, but this comes out, so this kind of just squeezes in there, and it's got the little like foam thing. You put the water in and everything in there. You can take that out. You can take this out and use that spot for something else. I just leave it in there because it's really not in the way for anything. I haven't thought of anything to put there anyways. That is the little fancy traveler one. I do like it. That's the one that's coming with me to Portugal pretty soon. Okay, a couple other things I want to talk about while we're doing this video. So I have this huge Pelican one that's also a travel cigar case and other thing case. So my wife got this for me. It's called Kentucky Cases. She got it on Amazon. I'll find the link for this. I don't have any discount codes for this. She gave me this for Christmas a couple years ago. It's incredible. The people that know me around here, if I go to a tater line in the morning, this is what I bring with me because it has cigars and places for bottles. Now it has to be a certain shape bottle, you know, like the Penelope, like a wine bottle shape. Pretty sure this is made for like wines, but it has a spot for, and it comes with the glasses. It has spots for 3 glasses. There are a couple little spots for samples. Little sample bottles in here. So there's one here, there's like a little squeezy bottle here. But you can put 2 bottles in here. You have 4 glasses. You have a spot for 6 cigars, a lighter, a cutter, and even behind here is like this little secret area. And you know, I don't know if you can see that, but there's literally, you know, you can put a pistol and 2 magazines. I just usually throw more cigars in here, and I have a couple extra cutters in there. But this is what I use for when I go like tater lines, because I can put my booze and cigars all in one area. They keep protected, and it's something I've traveled like on planes with and stuff, because like when I went to bring SLB their Pappy 20 year and stuff like that for the Raleigh's charity, I brought this to protect the Pappy 20. You know what I mean? Like, this is a heavy duty case. I feel very confident that nothing's gonna break in here. This is basically like a travel bar. So just something else to think about. I know when I come to tater lines and people see this, people are just like, you know, little jaw dropping how ridiculous this thing is. But if you've never seen something like this, I kind of wanted to show it. It's a great gift. It works perfectly fine for what I use it for anyways. And then one more thing I want to talk about is because I technically have used this as a travel humidor. And it's currently filled with like my cheapo cigars right now, because all my good cigars are my electric humidor. But this is what I used to use as my humidors for years. And it's just a Tupperware thing. It's got 4 things with a seal. It seals perfect. You know, I have the little Cedar trays in there. I had a wine fridge I converted into a humidor, but then it broke eventually. But I used the trays in there, so I just put the trays into these little Tupperware things I created. I have used this when I go to like, when I've gone to Cuba, I've brought one of these empty, and I brought the Cubans back in this to protect them. So, you know, technically that was travel. I have one of these Govee hygrometers in here. A Bovita pack, still fine, 65. If you're looking for a cheap setup at home for your humidor, I know that we're kind of going off of the travel thing, and you don't want to get like a wood desktop humidor or electric one or something like that, you know, you can get yourself a food safe Tupperware like this. This was cheap. I don't even know. It's a good size. I would always say go bigger than smaller. So even if you only have a few cigars, then maybe you get something like half of this size. You know, this can fit a good amount. Get yourself a couple Bovita packs and some kind of hygrometer. I like the Govees. They're not that expensive, but you can also track them with your phone, and you can kind of track them over time on your phone on the app. So you can see if the humidity and temperature are fluctuating too much in your humidor. Just something, I might have talked to actually about this in a previous video anyways. I have used this as a travel humidor as well. You basically want something that's gonna protect your cigars. You know, you can obviously, if you're going to a friend's house, you can throw a couple cigars into like a Ziploc bag and there's your travel humidor. But that's not gonna really protect it or control anything. All right, so that's a quick little video. Hopefully it's quick on some travel humidors. And if you have any questions about travel humidors or other options, I know my buddy always uses like this, like a leather case that holds 3 cigars in it. But again, that doesn't control humidity or anything, but it looks pretty and usually has a little cutter on the outside. So there is other options. These are options I've used over time. Obviously the new fancier looking one, which is now my new travel case because it works awesome. But most of these other things I've been using for years and years. If you have any questions about travel humidors, please let me know. And let's do a giveaway. I'll do another like random cigar giveaway. So if you want to win some cigars, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment with TH Cigar, travel humidor cigar. So TH Cigar, all one word. And the next cigar video I do, I'll announce that giveaway, which is probably gonna be sooner than later because I want to do one on about Cuban cigars. So I'll get that, I think, out way sooner than these 2 cigar videos were. And again, go check out Will and Rob at WP Cigar in the description. They just started a YouTube channel. If you're into cigars, they do more like discussions about different things. The second video, they talked about cigar lounge etiquette, which is a great topic because they own a cigar lounge in Indiana. So they've seen it all. So go check them out. Don't do nothing stupid. And if you do, don't get caught. Bye.